Sadiku, you can unmute. I don't know. It kicked me off Twitter Space, and I just got back on when you were speaking, Arthur. So I just put up two of the links that Arthur had just spoken about. Um, why they do me like that? I'm about to bring you in.
So let me, if you give me a moment, I'll make my statement here.
Okay,
Um,
sure. Yeah, sure,
Okay.
Sadiku.
okay.
Sure,
So
no problem.
so
This
so
is
the
rude.
statement I wanted to make, I know one of the things that I had couldn't remember at the time that had skipped my mind. The thing, there's over 24 Democratic congressmen that are that are not going to run it anymore. I was looking for the bill, the HR 40, because I wanted to go directly and see how many people were currently sponsoring it, and I also wanted to match the congressmen that are retiring and not running again to see if they, more than likely, some of them are co-sponsors of this bill. So we want to be mindful of the congressmen, like over 2 dozen. That's like 30 Congress one. I just looked the article up the other day. It's like that's like 30 Democratic congressmen are not running again. So we want to make sure, because the Congress is sort of almost split straight down the middle, if I'm not mistaken. It's like 221 or 231 to 205 to two something like that. I can't remember the exact number, but Roger, you understand what I'm saying.
Right. Now, my congressman's not running again, but I called him anyway. And then what I did, I called the most likely person that I noticed running, and I told him, and I gave him references from Narcan and Cobra's website and from the HR 40 bill. He is an attorney. I called his law offices and spoke with them, and he knows I'm gonna call him back. And I also am calling his Republican counterpart that's probably going to be at least running for that office. So that's what I'm doing. So I mean, it's recorded, and I know that the person who is not running again, that is my U.S. congressman in the House. I know where he wants to go, and I pointed that out. You don't leave it at that. If they're that mean normally they're running, and they might say, "Hey, I want to run for governor." Hey, I know they want to run for governor, right? So if you want to get my vote and my other friends and family's votes, then you're going to do something for us when you're in there. Do you understand what I'm saying? I mean, you don't let the person have the cookie for dessert. You don't, like kids. You don't give them the cookie for dessert if they don't eat the green beans off their plate. You understand? So
Right.
it's the same kind of energy. Look, this is what I need you to do. Instead of it being the green beans, I need you to unsponsor this bill that you went in there and sponsored. And if you don't do that, tell you what, I know where you want to go. You want to go into the governorship or the attorney general or Senate, right? Okay, well, keep that in mind. You can tell them nicely, I mean, or firmly, which I did. I mean, I know you want to go here, but if you want my support, I'm gonna see what you're doing here. Matter of fact, you're gonna hear from me very soon. Following week, call them back.
Yeah, I just want to let you all know also, I just called my congressperson, my congresswoman, and let her know I left a message. And do you suggest I do another follow-up call, or you?
Absolutely, call them back
Oh
next week.
yes,
Call them back. And
yes.
matter of fact, please put that in the jumbotron where I just called my congressperson and no to HR 40 hashtag, because we're going to be sharing these out, family. So if you do it while we on this call, great. Put it in the jumbotron. We're gonna share it out. If I see it and I didn't share it out after we're off this call, then let's all start sharing when people do it. You know, saying this is what we're doing. We calling and let people know when you quoting the tweet. We're calling and we're sharing. We call first, then next share. That's what we're doing. We're not just sitting here just putting HR 40 or whatever, no to HR 40. We're not doing that. So I'm in congress.gov. I put in on the search within bar at the top, HR 40. The bill is HR 40. So I click on that. That's the latest and greatest. And then when the tabs in like this spot, probably the lower third of the screen, I go into text. And when I touch on text, it takes me right to the HR 40 bill. I scroll up a little bit, 117th Congress, first session, HR 40. It's in the House of Representatives, January 4th of 2021. That clump of names is where you will find your congressperson who has co-sponsored that list. If they have a name that's not up there, then you say, oh, well, they didn't co-sponsor, so that congressperson did not sponsor that bill.
Right.
So you don't need to call. Please don't. Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I was saying, and if you're a congressman, that was a very, very good point that the young man brought up. But if your congressman is not running again, you still call them, and you find out who's running for the seat, and call everybody that's running for the seat with the same information.
Y'all got that, family? Thank you, Sadiku. I appreciate you, brother. Why they? I'm sorry, and I'm just reading up here. And then after why they, it's gonna be D2WJB1. You got 2 minutes, sister. No problem.
Ross, and I won't need the full 2 minutes. First off, shout out to you, Arthur and Angie, for this space and for this education and for this call to action. I just feel so inspired, and I just really love my people. So also shout out to my people that are listening. I love y'all. Like, for real, reparations is here. I'm not even saying it's coming. It is here, and it's just unfolding. So thank you. The thing that really made me want to come up on stage, and I do have one question, but it was when Ross was talking about the work. And one thing that I will like to share with all of you that I figured out is that whenever somebody comes into these spaces and they say, well, all I hear is people talking and nobody's doing nothing. Whenever they come with that energy, know that they themselves are not doing any work. Because if they were doing any type of work, even if it was something very, very small, they wouldn't ask what work was being done because they would be doing it. They would be a part of doing it. So when somebody comes up on stage saying that, I don't care what they look like. I don't care, who they are. Just know that they're not a part of the people that are doing the work, and they may need to be educated, or they may just need to get kicked the fuck out. Excuse my language. Now, the question that I have for the hosts is, should we more say to stop HR 40, or should we ask them to change it to make it specific to our people and to take out the trick bag and the money bag for narcan and coke?
It's trash. It's trash.
The whole thing is trash.
It.
Throw it away.
It's simple. No, trash it. Period.
Got it.
Over. We're gonna be coming out. We're gonna be working on finding somebody that's either running or already an incumbent to carry a new bill that we've already formulated. But right now, I want everybody's focus, singular, on trashing this bill.
Okay, thank you. The one thing that I don't like that I've been hearing about the narrative, and specifically, just by politicians, and namely a lot of non-Black ones, but it doesn't really matter. It's just Democratic people, because they're the ones who are always calling me for money. When I say, do you have, what are your tangibles? Like, what do you have, what policy that you are proposing that specifically benefits Black people? And they all go to, well, I support HR 40, which is a study on reparations, which is essentially telling me in a whole bunch of words that y'all don't support policy that is specific to benefiting Black people. So that's what I was noticing with HR 40, and I did not like that. And then you guys, have this room, so it's just kind of like the stars are aligning for me. And I will be calling. I have retweeted some tweets that I've seen, and I'll be calling, and I'll tweet that as well when I do that. So thank you guys, and that's all I have to say.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. We're at the point with HR 40 where the Darity edits that were so important in order for us to be able to get that specificity for our freedmen people who descended from chattel slavery in the United States only. We've been trying to push that for over a couple of years, and they rejected the majority of it. And so we're left with what we have here, which is a Pan-African bill. And there's no specificity to it. And it's the wrong people are getting the money, and they don't believe in cash payments. And we're looking at the bill plus their website of what they even say, right? They're saying, no, we want to be the repository that handles the people's money. That's to me sounds like a pimp, right? You give them the money and they may put you up in an apartment or something crazy like that. We are tired of people trying to pimp us. We are tired of it. We're not having it. I'm not having it. I'm not letting anybody pimp you all, nor me. So that is the reason we're coming and stepping into this thing full chested, boots on the ground, laced up, not playing any games with these people. And we can't get directly to them because they have an affront of actually coming from us. And they're like, oh, HR 40. They're the ones in these congressmen's ears saying HR 40. However, the congressmen work for us. They don't work for Narcan and Cobra. So if they're like, well, I have HR 40, that's what they've been telling us too for several years. We got HR 40. No, we don't, because HR 40 does not represent me and my family. Now, I will put my family members 18 to 90 on this phone, or 102 on this phone, and it's a no. It's an absolute no. Get your name off that HR 40 bill, Congressman. And if you don't do it, I'm going to have a tidal wave of people that will be calling you and that will remember you in whatever next position. I know what position they're going to, and we're going to vote no against you in there. So you won't get that. We will actively campaign against you for free if you don't listen to us now. Now that's power. I'm sorry. Next up, brother. Y'all got to stop me when I get carried away. D2 WJB1.
Thank you so much for providing the space. I hope this was a wake-up call. I caught up to it at the tail end of it, but I really, really hope this is a wake-up call, especially for FBA and even the non-FBA, of which I am one. I am not FBA, but for non-foundational, but on code B1 diaspora, that the vitriol that these people have, the agenda that they had, honestly, Tariq brilliantly basically had them unmasked, and the vile hatred that was there. I don't know if you guys caught most of it, but it was really, really repugnant. And it's encouraging and inspiring that you're actually going about with actionable initiatives and trying to scrap the HR 40. But I do feel that personally, and a lot of non-FBA diaspora need to step up in creating groups and spaces and understanding that even our fight, because now they're getting on, now they're talking about reparations. Now that this is blown up in their face, the Somalis or different African groups are talking about their own reparations from Europeans. But none of that will work unless we unify and fight, I think, all Black people from every corner of the earth for foundational Black Americans. Because the center of the world, the center of culture, comes from the United States and from the struggle and fight that you guys have, and displacing, at least shifting the balance of power from white supremacists to FBA is absolutely essential to create justice for all of us. So it's really, really encouraging and inspiring to see you guys. But yeah, I hope this has been a real wake-up call. That's all I had to say.
All right, thank you. What country are you in? Are you in, if you're not Freedmen, you said FBA, but if you're not a Freedman, what country are you in?
I'm non-FBA, but I'm actually right now I'm in Taiwan. I'm an
Okay,
Asian.
okay.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
let me put it to you this way. Anybody else that's in this country that is an ally, I thank you for your allyship, and we do like we're just born. I think we're born, fighting in this country. And one of the things that I will tell anybody, and I've had conversations with people that were CARICOM that were in the U.S. and they said, "Oh, y'all not going to get." I said, "Wait a minute, did you know about CARICOM is fighting for your reparations?" And they did like, "No, I didn't know that." And I said, "There's an organization fighting for you, and I want you to get your reparations. But if you are in this United States and you are from an island nation, you know that whatever this country does, your country will follow. So why wouldn't you want us to get our reparations if your country is going to follow and get theirs?" This is the biggest domino, the first domino that must fall in order for you to get your reparations. I already support you in your quest for your reparations for your island nation and the other island nations that are part of CARICOM. I will not receive one red cent from it. But for you to not support us is cutting your own throat, because it will never happen there until it happens here. And that person was like, "You know what? You're right. I better
You
get
know,
on board with your
you know
supporting
the
your
other thing that
reparation."
the other thing that really bothers me about the diaspora and some groups, some other groups. Black Americans, I'm talking about foundational Black Americans, Native Black Americans, American freedmen, have never gotten in the way of anyone else's reparations issue or contentions with their government. Never, ever. We don't.
Absolutely.
We have the respect of others. We respect others so much that we don't even say anything unless they give us permission. And then when they do give us permission, it's never negative. We've supported movements in South Africa. We've supported movements in Central Africa and West Africa. I'm old enough to remember these movements. And Black Americans have always came through. When the Ethiopians were fighting the Italians, Black Americans signed up to join the Ethiopian military to fight the Italians.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. They lined up in hordes to fight off the problem is there's a white worshiping element in these nations, and it's almost generational. It's endemic. It's really, really, really so sad. And so they will not only do they go off code, and what you just talked about, your beautiful humanity, which Dr. Francis Cresswell spoke about, Dr. Henry Clark also spoke about, that beautiful humanity has been taken advantage of repeatedly, on and on and on and on. And so you thought immigrants were coming, but they were coming to displace you. I've seen this internalized racism even in my own family, believe it or not. It's really, really, really sad. And it's going to take a lot of time and a lot of effort on our part. You cannot, white supremacy is not taking any breaks, and it's on the march. You don't have the time or the luxury to handle us, to basically use kitty gloves to handle us or to try to educate us or get us on par. It's something that we're going to have to do. And you're absolutely bang on Ethiopia. I'm of Ethiopian descent, so absolutely, you're 100% correct.
Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you. There was IMK. I think IMK is connecting. But one of the things I wanted to say, like I said, I don't have an issue with FBA or B1 or, but the reason I keep saying Freedmen, like I said, legally speaking in this country, and it's not to discredit anything, but it's to tamp down on and let people know that if you're saying Freedmen, it's documented. If you type in Freedmen in congress.gov, type in Freedmen, there's so much legislation in here that runs back to 1863. And a lot of people don't know that. Maybe they don't know it. And it's under Congress. It's legislation that runs back with the Freedmen information. I'm sorry. I think it's, it's 1861.
Yeah, well, and it's actually super easy to find, but we have to up that number a little bit. It's actually 3 million, over 3 million documents just in the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area. I'm
That's
talking
right.
about documents that are residing in the Smithsonian Institute, in the Library of Congress, in the internal Capitol Hill archives, and in various other agencies dispersed around the Washington, Virginia, and Maryland area. Not to mention documents that are also in the archives of state governments that legally establish us as freedmen.
Exactly.
So,
So
so
that
that's what
way,
the government recognizes us as.
exactly. So that way, when we use it, when we're talking political and we're doing legal recognition, we're already recognized over 3 million documents on as freedmen. So that way, if you have a nickname or a name description or whatever the case may be, they're not like, if my name is Ross, I can't go to the bank and cash a check for Susan, right? They're not gonna, that's not my name. My name is not Susan. Don't but they're going to cash the check for who they recognize who on the legal documents. So that's important for you guys to know too. I'm sorry, there was somebody, I guess they had the connectivity issues. I don't see him. Do you? If you guys see him, Angie or Arthur, please let me know. Angie, you okay over there?
I am fine. Thank you for asking.
What? Wonderful, sis. I just making sure. Got to check on you from time to time. Anyone else have a question or a comment regarding our actionable item that we are going to enact effective immediately? People have been going on the call and just doing this work. So I'm so proud of you. So proud. Um Darnell Henderson, I'm about to get you in here so you can pose your question or statement as soon as you connect. You can speak, sir. It is 12:20. Darnell, you have a couple of minutes to share with us, sir. Thank you.
Hi, how you doing? I really want to thank you for this space. I am FBA, but I am starting to use the Freedmen hashtag because I understand your points about how it's in the historical records. So thank you for that too. I would like to say that we need to start talking about who will actually get reparations. I have a big problem with black people. I'm going to say this correctly. Black people who may have a non-black mother getting reparations before a black freedman with two black parents, two freedman grandparents, two freedman great grandparents. That's a very important discussion we need to have. And I know in other circles, there's a lot of ambiguity about that. But to make sure other groups don't come in and now I'll say it plainly now, to make sure a lot of biracial people, they're black one minute, but then the next minute they're white. I'm not saying a biracial like a Barack Obama or a Colin Kaepernick maybe shouldn't get generations. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying the people with an unbroken freedman lineage need to be the first ones to get their reparations, and that's all I have to say.
Okay, hello, two things. Um, one of the markers of being a freedman or a native black American is we're basically bi and triracial. That's just the way it is, okay? Um, we actually have the least, in general, Native Black Americans have significant African ancestry, but on average, it's less than the African ancestry of, let's say, people from the Caribbean and of course, people that are still domiciled in Africa.
I agree.
But that's just how we are constructed. But the important thing is like the Darity standard. To have at least one person or one side of your family that can be lineage from American slavery, okay? And for you to self-identify as Negro, Black, colored, African American, or Black on legal documents for at least 12 years before the enactment of a reparations program, which is fair. The other thing too is that you're worried about, we're all worried about these other Black people coming in. They're already in. But once we focus on getting HR 40 trash, all of a sudden, all of those people will be out. That's why myself, from now until the middle of spring, my total focus is going to be on getting HR 40 killed, because that is the most important thing that we need to focus on at this time, at this particular time, right now.
I agree, but like I say, there are a lot of people with non unbroken lineage who have ulterior motives. I heard guys at my job joking about it, because they know that I'm all about reparations and everything. So he was, and I was listening to him, and I didn't say nothing, but I was like, okay, this dude, he's black when he needs to be, but he's white most of the time. So he was talking about, well, I know I'm going to get a reparations check. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, this is a few months ago. I was like, you know what? This is a problem. But I'm not saying, like, here's the thing, and I agree with everything you said, but we need to start making some type of have a standard to where the people who we know, who both mother and father, grandfather and great grandmother, were foundational Black Americans, unbroken lineage. That's important. Not excluding other people, but we got to do that, or else it's gonna.
I'm sorry, brother. I muted you for a moment. Part of any reparations plan is in order for people to do genealogy. Documentation is very imperative in regards to an inheritance claim, as you, I'm sure, understand. So therefore, what you're bringing up now shouldn't be our focus. What should be our focus is that HR 40 needs to be trashed. I thank you, and if you would like to continue speaking, you may do so. Thank you.
Right now, we got to focus on.
Okay. Anyone else?
There's Free Extreme.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah.
Hello?
Arthur, you're unmuted. Please
Oh, thank
mute
you, thank you. No,
Arthur.
I was typing because I
What's up?
wasn't sure when anybody would let me speak. I've been in some
Oh
spaces
yeah,
where
yeah, yeah.
nobody let
I
me talk.
usually, I usually, if I mute you, I unmute right away.
Thank
But
you.
I do want to speak as a
I was
co-host.
I was gonna say, since slavery and even during racism, trillions of dollars have been printed and burned. Trillions of dollars have been printed and burned. I don't want black people or anybody to demand reparations from people who are already greedy and selfish enough to fight a civil war back then, whose some of their descendants or people who benefited from that today may start a second civil war just to keep what they've got, just to hoard their inheritance as usual, just as the cops used to do it for them. These are the people that are going to get into politics and shoot us down every time. I think we need to remember that money can be printed. I think we should need to remember that some people can print money. And if it's something as serious as reparations for all black people who could hire their children away from crime by creating a family business, giving their own child a job when it is rejected by corporations, or maybe they mess up around some other people who don't respect them as much, but they always follow mama and daddy's orders. You see what I'm saying? So I think there's a way we need to think about the psychopaths and the sociopaths out there who don't care about us as much as they care about a luxury yacht, four more luxury cars instead of hiring four more black people. Uh, you see what I'm saying? All the luxuries out there that you can enjoy if you just ignore literally anybody who's suffering. Like, we have to remember that they're out there. They might be politicians. They might be police officers who keep you out of the building so that you can't speak your mind around people who might otherwise care. I think we need to
Sir,
remember that money can be printed.
excuse me, sir.
Yeah. Yes,
Everything
ma'am.
that you've described, we're already going through it.
Right.
So for
And I'm
you
glad I
to
could say something to help you know that I've realized. But I don't
yeah,
think we
yeah,
should
but
demand money
we're
from,
already
like.
going through this. We're already going through this.
Right.
So,
I
irregardless
agree
as
with you on that. I agree with you on that.
irregardless, irregardless as to whether or not we receive reparations,
Mm-hmm.
we're at this situation right now. Damn if we
Right.
do, and damn if we don't. And guess what? I'll be damned. I want the reparations
Mm-hmm.
specifically for my lineage. And guess what? We will decide how we're going to gate up. But until that happens, we're all in peril no matter how far
Exactly.
or how distant we are.
Well,
So right
I'm fine.
now,
I'm
so
fine.
right
Like, I personally don't need it.
at
But
this moment, we just need to get focused on our politics.
yes,
That's all I
ma'am.
can
And I
say.
also wanted to tell you about some
What I don't
opportunities
understand,
with
what I
white
Also,
don't
folks right
nobody
now.
understand
burned
real quick.
anything down when the government gave $380 million a year to Afghan refugees that just happened. Dude, you do not know what you are talking
Throw me
about.
in there,
I
Joe.
highly doubt
Mm-hmm.
that you even are people talking about like, well, I don't need a check, whatever. It's not about what is needed. It is not about what is deserved. It is a debt that is
Right.
owed,
No,
and we
I
are
agree with
here
you.
to
Like, one of the
collect.
reasons that
No,
I
it ain't
have what
about
I have is
you
because,
Let her
agreeing, and it
speak
ain't
though.
about you not agreeing. It's not about that. I don't even know who you are and what you came in here for. This is about HR 40. You bringing up some other stuff. That is not for this space. And I'm sorry to overspeak hosts, but my heart started racing because I'm like, who in the heck is this? Mother effer, you are on some BS, sir, and you are trying to derail a very, very productive and informative room, and you will not do that. And especially not during this month, especially not during this year. You're not going to do it. No, the ancestors have spoken through me, and you need to drink a tall, ice cold glass of STFU. Now, back to shutting down HR 40. Hashtag no to HR 40.
Hashtag no to HR 40. Thank you so much for that. And I'm glad that he was muted. He should be removed because this, like you said, is a very productive conversation that we are having about shutting down this no beef burger uh, bullshit ass law. And he come up around about he don't need it. Well, you only need to be speaking. What you need to do is run out there in traffic. But thank you for that.
All right. Thank you, sister, for coming in and on that. I was trying to just show you what kind of things that we're having to go and deal with, and I was trying to see where he was coming from, because if he's able to live without any type of wealth or any type of if any type of wealth, then I don't know how he's able to do that. And our people right now, out of the homeless people that are out here, I mean, we have a very high homeless rate. Up to 50% of the homeless are us. Look at downtown LA. Look at all the wealth indicators. We're sitting here, people that are very well educated, who are freedmen, are underemployed, especially after COVID. We are sitting up in here suffering and not able to have. Other groups are able to come in here through Office of New Americans and step over us. So I'm not understanding. I mean, I'm from DC. I've been down to see them make and destroy money, but you live on money. You live on it. You can't go. I like to see you go in the store and get a whole shopping cart full of food and walk out of there without money. you're probably going to be running, sir, because guess what? That's stealing. You're going to have to use either plastic or paper, as far as not to bag your groceries, but to pay for your groceries. So I don't even understand where that was coming from, but I thank you, sister, for stepping in. I thank you, Amaru, brother, for stepping in. I just want to see what.
Uh-oh.
Hey,
Rise to
Rob.
the base. You care to speak? I'm
Oh no, yeah. Well, I guess I just want to talk about telling y'all, keep up the good work on my page. I shared um, the uh, uh, the campaign to know the HR 40, and also I got inside of that, a list of the co-sponsors.
Here. So let's get back to it. We have been having a very productive call, and let's continue on, shall we? I'm sorry. It was let's go with is this Louisiana, Sun in Texas?
Yes, it's me. This more of a quick question. I'm pretty sure you already answered it, but uh, what if your congressman is not on that list? What can we do to help? It, sorry, that sounds like a
You saying
stupid
if
question.
your congressman is not on the list?
Right, not on the list of sponsors for that bill.
Are you in Louisiana?
I'm in Texas right now,
Okay, wonderful.
but from Louisiana.
Wonderful. We want you to call your congressman anyway. Whether well, if
Okay.
they're not on the list, no, if they're not on the list, then you don't need to call them and tell them about. You don't tell them to need to unsponsor. This is strictly really to get them to unsponsor. But what you can do is contact your family members. I'm hearing a lot of noise. I'm sorry. Can everybody please
Well,
mute?
Rob, Rob,
Yes, I'm hearing a lot of noise. Hold
Rob,
on a second. I'm hearing a lot of noise, so please mute your mics. Sir, I'm just gonna tell you, call your family members and let them know about HR 40 because some of them may not live in Texas, and some of them may have congressmen who have signed on and co-sponsored this bill. Arthur Ward, did you have
well,
advice for him?
Ross,
Yes.
yes. No, I'm going to push back on one thing. No, I would say still call your sponsor that has not sponsored,
Right,
because
right,
people that haven't sponsored are the pool of people that might
right.
sponsor.
We
They need to know.
either way. I apologize.
So,
Yeah, that
yeah,
makes
tell
sense.
them not to sponsor.
Right. We want you to contact brother. We want you to contact your congressman and tell them whether they sponsored or not. If they're not on the list, tell them please don't sponsor it, right?
Don't sponsor.
Do not sponsor the bill. And if they say, well, I'm not, great, wonderful, don't do it.
Great.
Thank you. Thank them. And then still put on there no to HR. I called my congressman and told him not to sponsor the bill. No to HR 40, and put your sticker up, and we share your sticker too. Thank you.
And if someone is running against him, if someone is running against that person, find out who they are, call them as well. Call the candidates and call the incumbent. Whether the incumbent is, if the incumbent is already co-sponsored HR 40, tell them to take it off. And if they haven't co-sponsored, tell them don't.
Okay, I'm gonna unmute everybody because I was hearing a lot of noise and it was just driving me nuts. Okay. Next. I'm not understand. Okay, now this person free extreme. They He was the one that was up on stage before and was talking about
Yes, yes, he was.
anybody else in here that had a question about the action item and what to do.
Quick question for
Yes, sir.
follow up. So, are y'all saying call them anyway as if they were sponsoring
No,
that bill?
we want you to call them and tell if they're not on the list, tell them to please do not co-sponsor the HR 40.
Yeah, because that's the pool of people that they're going after to sponsor.
Right.
Okay.
They're coming to the
Okay.
say like Republicans or whomever hasn't sponsored. That's who they're coming after to get them to sign on. If they haven't sponsored, great. You please call them and say, hey, I'm a Freedman and I don't, I'm a constituent. I do not want you to sign this HR 40 bill. I do not want you to sign it. My mom, my wife, whatever, you're married, single, whatever, whoever lives in that specific congressman's district or jurisdiction, have them. Some people are doing family meetings or Zoom calls or whatever, and you could have everybody right there on a speakerphone with a loud enough speaker, and they don't know if they're in the room or not, but they will check against that zip code. So please make sure they're in the zip code for that particular congressman. I mean, by you being in Texas, it's like, okay, that you had aunt lives up the street or they're living in the same zip code or whatever as you, then you can call on the Zoom call. I know it's COVID is happening. Say, hey, my name is Mamie Brown or whatever the case may be, and I live in this zip code, and I say no on HR 40. They're going to record that and they're going to care what she says because they already have her listed as being one of their constituents. They have you listed as being one of their constituents. They will listen to you. If you were to call my district and say, hey, I need to talk to this congressman, they're not going to have you listed. They're going to say, call your congressman down where you live.
And then what will happen is this. When Narcan and Cobra walks into that congressman's office to talk to him about signing on HR 40, because that's how they do it, he's going to tell them that many of my constituents have been calling me, telling me not to. So we're heading it off with those that have not signed on.
Do you understand, brother? Did that make sense to you?
That makes total sense. Thank you.
You're quite welcome. Next up, Sister Cynthia.
Hey, Sister Ross. Hey,
Hey.
brother Arthur Ward. Hey, room. I'm hoping that everyone is well. I'm going to be very brief. I just tweeted out the link of all the Congress people that have co-sponsored on HR 40. I tagged you and Arthur in it so that people are able to follow the said tweet and be able to see like who exactly in their state actually signed on as a co-sponsor so that they can contact them. And like even Arthur said, even if they haven't co-sponsored, call them anyway, because we want for people to take away their support for this very problematic bill, and we want to make sure to hem up all possible sponsorships of this bill going forward, because representatives or even people who are candidates who are running for those seats may think that it would be politically expedient for them to say, hey, I support HR 40, so I'm for Black people, right? No, because this bill is not for us. It's not going to accomplish what we need to accomplish. Therefore, it needs to be trashed. And that's all I have to say. Great space, everybody, and thank you for you are.
All right, thank you, Cynthia, for that. Appreciate you so much.
Thank
that's
you, baby.
You're welcome,
that's
baby.
important. That's important information right there, family, because you need to know. I mean, if you're either way, if they're sponsoring it or they're not sponsoring it, you need to call them and tell them if they didn't sponsor, hooray. Call them and say, please don't sponsor this. You did right not to sponsor. Please don't sponsor it now. Don't. Right? And you're their constituent. They're going to listen to you above anybody else. You listen to the person that's basically who you answer to. We're their bosses. We're their bosses, and they know it. Your constituency is your boss. When you're going to listen to the person that's cutting you your check for your job, or you're going to listen to somebody that's not cutting you your check, right? So it's the same thing with them. So everybody has calls to make. These are the actionable items of this call. These are the actionable items of this call. Angie, Arthur, you see anybody else's hands up? I'm going to try to get to Cynthia's link. Arthur, Angie.
Yeah, I'm looking right now. Oh, yeah,
We have Michael.
Michael, yeah.
Michael, you're up.
Hey, family. I just wanted to drop in. Um, I, I, I guess I'm sorry I'm late to the game here, but I'd like to talk to you guys about maybe adding something to the strategy. I was in a clubhouse room 2 days ago and arguing with Dr. Goddess and her ilk. Because I'm an asshole, so I want to be clear. That's why I argue all the time. All right. So, but I was in there in a room with them, and we were at HR 40 came up, and Dr. Goddess was crying about people that don't support HR 40, hate black people, and they really are working for the white supremacists and the GOP, yada yada yada. And and then I'm like, what are you people talking about? And then Mud popped into the room, my man Mud. He said, and this was a Nigerian room, by the way. He said, HR 40 can be done with everything that's in HR 40 can be done with an executive order. It can be done in less than 2 years. So you can do it between the midterms and the next presidential election, right? So it can be you can sign that executive order. It can be done in 18 months, and it's over with. They're dangling this over our head and trying and using it to make us seem those of us in the reparations movement and make us seem irrational, right? And then one of the Nigerian guys, Mud, gave an example, right? And then one of the Nigerian guys went back and pulled down the executive orders right off the WhiteHouse.gov site, and there are like 5, 6, 7 7 executive orders equivalent that Biden has done that's equivalent to HR 40. Some go even further than HR 40. On that he's done it for. He's done it for Africans. He's done it for the AAPI. All the things that are on HR 40 that's supposed to be done for us are in that executive order. They're hustling us, and I think it would behoove us to offer that as an alternative. Take HR 40, do Darity's edits, and turn it into an executive order, or you're fucking done. And I think it would behoove us to do something like that as opposed to just saying no to what's on the table now.
Well, excuse me, sir. Thank you for that. Thank you for that question or suggestion. But as we stated earlier, the problem is the HR 40 has gone through the markup phase. It went through the markup phase in 2019 and 2020, which means that the first thing they have to do is acquire 2 more signatures as is, and they are not going to go back in and put the Darity edits in. So the Darity edits are not happening. So this bill really needs to be crushed for the reasons that we stated before. I'm not sure if you were in on
No,
the previous call or not,
oh,
or on the earlier in the call.
I'm aware of
But
that, Roz. I'm just saying that the executive order is a different process, right?
well, this is the thing. Executive order. I'm about to hit you on that next, right? The executive order, Biden has already not given us an executive order specific to us. And
Right,
also, an EO is only as good as Biden would be in office if he were to miraculously get a change of heart about us.
right,
This is Joe Biden we're talking about, right?
right.
He's Joe. I don't
The other
expect
thing,
Joe Biden to be anybody but Joe Biden.
right. The
No,
other
no,
thing too is like people forget that executive orders have content. Okay, even if he were to do an executive order, if he did an executive order with the content that's in HR 40 as it stands now, we will be in the same place. The
yeah,
point is that we don't want anything, we don't even want the H in HR 40 to happen. We want that whole thing to be torn up and flushed down the toilet. And then we have the time, and we have the fortitude to come out with the new bill, which in the form right now, HR 1865, that we can put into the hands of a new sponsor and get this thing done. We don't want a temporary thing going on here. The reason why that Biden's executive orders were able to work was because he had a House that supported it. You know, even if you do an executive order, you still have to have a House behind you in order to fund it. Okay? So we
yeah.
still have to go through this process. So the thing is, let's not lose focus. Let's drive the ball into the hole with no complications. And that's where we are right now. And that's what we have to do.
Okay, I was just offering something because again, my point was is that if they're gonna try to beat us over the head with this as in being unreasonable, and offer something, if we offer something, even if Biden doesn't do it, if we offer an alternative along with this, it would be, to my mind, it would be, even if we say, oh,
Yeah,
let's say it's not do HR 40, right? Say, well, here's 1865,
Yeah.
make this
Oh,
an example.
hold on, sir. I'm sorry. I had to mute you because I just wanted to tamp down on the fact Arthur said we have another bill. H is known. It's not. You can't look it up in Congress.gov because we are looking for a we're looking for a correct congressperson to be able to put it in their hands and deliver it. Is HR 1865. So we have something else that has been created, and Dr. Darity was involved in that process, if I'm not mistaken. So we have something else. It's not going to come through an executive order, which is temporary and can be easily overturned by the next administration. Just wanted you to know that, and I'll unmute and you can come back in if you so desire.
yeah. The other thing too is like you got to remember, because of the fact that Biden had support in both the House and the Senate for the other executive orders, those things are not existing executive orders anymore. They are now law.
Okay,
Okay,
so
so that's
yeah,
what you got to understand.
no, I get that. I get that.
Okay,
All I'm saying is even okay. We'll scratch turning HR 40 with Darity's edit into an executive order. We'll scratch that. All right. So let's say let's take that same scenario and say, okay, here is because again, it's just a study. It's over in 18 months. Here it is available. Let's push it forward. Right.
No,
okay.
All right.
it's
Not
too
just a
The
study.
other thing too, Mike, is that we're trying to get, thousands of people who are not politically sophisticated, who don't really know how to talk to congressmen on a regular basis. We're giving
Mm-hmm.
them some bullet points and some action so they can at least do this by the thousands. Now,
Okay.
those details can be left in the hands of people like me, like Dr. Darity, other folks that are accustomed to talking to Congress people and people in the executive branch. But what we're doing right now is that we are getting thousands of people mobilized with 3 simple bullet points and pick up the phone and call your congressman. That's what we're doing right now.
Okay. Can I make one more suggestion and I'll be out of the way? I know you guys
Sure.
working on this. If
Sure.
perhaps as we're mobilizing these people, give them a link or to the PDF for 1865 and say, this is what we prefer and this is why.
Sure.
I'm just saying, because having an alternative to saying no and having an alternative is, to my mind, is more powerful than just saying no. You see what I mean? I know you guys are working hard on this. I'm not trying to make you guys seem like you don't know what you're doing. I'm just simply making a suggestion.
Sure, sure.
Mm-hmm.
Some people will do that.
Hey, Arthur, I don't know if it's been released or not. I'm not sure because I think it's gonna. I don't know. I mean, has it been released out there?
We'll have to talk to Chad and Friday about that.
Right. So,
okay.
But once it is, we'll make sure it gets out.
This is what your ordinary, but Mike, this is what your ordinary, everyday person that goes to work every day can do. We don't want to make this too complicated. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Hey,
I
Arthur,
agree.
Ross, do you mind if I interject?
Sure, go ahead.
All right, so I'm just going to speak to my experience. I'm going to just say this. I've been challenging I just called my mom, told her to do everything. You know what I'm saying? I gave her, you know what I'm saying, everything. But, you know what I'm saying? My father, you know what I'm saying? I got him to come around to talking about reparations, right? Because he was like one of those people that was like against it. Like he's one of those, I got mine, I'm good type. But, you know, he's coming around. So I'm good dealing with people. So I'm just say this. Like most people are lazy. They're not going to want to do this, right? They're going to tell you they're going to do it, but they're not going to do it. So what I'm doing is I have that website. I Googled find your congressman or whatever. And there's a website. Hold on one second. Whoaremyrepresentatives.org.
Okay.
Okay, folks.
Whoaremyrepresentatives.org?
Yes. So when I'm dealing with whoever, right? Most people, I'm gonna find their congressman. I'm just asking for their zip code, right? Because they're not gonna go do this on their own.
Right.
So on this webpage, when you type in their zip code, it brings up the senator, the representative, and like all of the leadership, basically like from the president on down, like governor and everything, right? So basically you can take screenshots of that and send it to them, and then also send the talking points because people are not going to do it. And I'm really like one of the challenge people, like, do it in front of me. And then also, this is a family affair. This is a family affair. I make this known. Like the next time y'all get together and y'all sitting down, y'all kiki and ha-ha, nah. Stop this and let's make these phone calls. Like you got to challenge people. You got to push people because they're not going to do it. So this website, it brings up the senator from the president on down, basically your state leadership, including down to your local leadership. Mm-hmm. So when you click it and expand the option of the folks, you can see their contact information, the number, the email address, webpage, all of that, right? So I'm screenshotting that and I send it to folks because they're not going to do it. They're not going to do it. The number is right there. And if they really rock with you, like, no, do this right now. Do this right now. And if do it with your spouse. So that's what I'm doing because people aren't going to go look for the information. So that's just my experience. And that's all I wanted to say.
Okay. Thank you, A Boogie. Yeah, I wanted to say real quick, Arthur, that that's one of the reasons because house.gov will put you in, like where you put a zip code in. I mean, calling your family members, especially if they are not computer savvy, and you can be on a conference call right there with them. And you can make the call and just do, everybody knows how to make a conference call. You call your family member and then you call that representative. And they don't know say, hey, I'm calling from such and so for my cousin who's right here, and she's, and then you tell that person that answers the phone, the congressional aide, what you want and why, and then the only thing your family member has to say is their full name or their name is on the ballot, and then you say thank you, and they'll record it, and you can hang up. So you can do the legwork, which is great, and just have your family member just say, yeah, I don't want that. And okay, I'm gonna get on the conference call, and I'll tell the person everything that you need to tell them, and they just need for them to just sanction what you just said by saying, you agree with that? Yes, I do, and here's my name. Boom, there it is. You got that recorded, right? Right. That's it's that easy. It's not that difficult. You probably call you, like you said, A Boogie said, yeah, you probably call your family and kiki and ha ha about a lot of stuff. Why not call them in the process and do some real business? If
Right.
you love your family, what you want them to do is you want them, if say it's $15,000 a month. I'm just saying, because that's what I know people that get from these certain different tribes that are in the Midwest are making 15 or 20,000 a month. Is that going to change your life if your family were to be able to get that, along with lands and federal protections? Of course it will. Of course it will. So I don't want to hear any other foolish talk about, well, money don't mean nothing. Yes, it the hell does. And y'all know the hell it don't. It means something to be able to have wealth. The whole purpose of the reparations plan is to close the racial wealth gap. Now, if
Mhm.
anybody had something that they had said that made me think that they had a bit of an economist mindset, because economists deal with numbers, they deal with wealth, they deal with history, they deal with focusing and digging deep on that information. If you call and say that it doesn't pertain to that, and it's, I don't know what it's in. It's no money, doesn't mean anything. Great. Let me give you my cash app. Send me your money, right?
Right. Wait,
It's
wait,
up
wait,
there.
wait, 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 wait.
No,
Hold,
no,
hold,
Arthur.
hold
I'm
it,
just
Rod.
Arthur. I'm
Hold it,
being
Rod. What
facetious.
what
You
you gonna
said
do with
right.
fifteen
You
thousand
said
dollars
right.
a
I'm
month?
being
What
facetious.
what you
He
what
said
you
right. Y'all like, wait a minute, man. Y'all know. All right,
what you
now
gonna
let me
do
go.
with 15,000 a month?
Look,
What you
fam.
gonna do
What?
with it?
What? What you gonna do with 15,000 a month? That's too much
What you,
money for you. It's they burning the money. Come on, let's get real. Political workout, brother. The floor is yours for the next two.
Did y'all just call on me or what?
Yes, yes, I did.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Roz, fire and ice, and I appreciate you having this space. I always love coming to your spaces because it's always, education based. Always trying to help, and it's always. I know it's coming from a good place. Um, I want to say that today, based on today's information and how we're speaking on, freedmen and how we need to navigate politically, calling out congressmen, um, and addressing, HR 40. I heard Dr. Goddess was brought up into this conversation. I was already done with Dr. Goddess a long time ago. And what's up, Michael, man? It's good to see you again. You do love debates as well. Dr. Goddess, I was done with her a long time ago, but then I was really done with her when I learned that she runs a traveling agency. Now I understand. Now I understand the true agenda. She runs a traveling agency and that's why she's trying to push out this whole message. That, oh, there's nothing wrong with Africa. We should all go back. We should all visit Africa. And now I understand. She runs the agency. If she would have said that from the beginning, then I would probably understand her a lot more. But this whole nonsense she's trying to push out, calling us, she was in a room and she led a room saying that we're extremists, basically participating in these words is very, very detrimental to what we're trying to do. Also, I would like to commend everyone who has not mixed up our movement and our efforts and using Freedmen, throwing it around and bastardizing it like they did every other hashtag that we've actually worked with or supported, such as ADOS, FBA, and all that stuff. Like, be very careful and please do not participate. Freedmen is not a hashtag that we want to dirty and make it seem like when we go into a political space or any other space that we bring up talking about our issues and people think we're clowns or fools like they've done with these other hashtags. You can't have a political conversation and people are not going to take you serious if you bring up ADOS and these other terms. And I'm just saying this, as a person that partakes and participates in local discussion. I've been handing out for a while flyers trying to help a candidate. I'm not going to say the name, trying to help a candidate. And I've had these conversations. And you know what they would respond, some of these people? Oh, are you one of those ADOS people? So people know, people that are not even on this platform, they're like, and once you say that, it's like you basically diminish and devalue anything else you have to say. We do not want Freedmen to turn out to be some type of joke. So I'm not a dictator. I'm not telling y'all what to do. It's just advice as a people that's trying to get things done. Another thing that we have to do is start asking questions with people who are leading these discussions and have their freaking cash apps all over the place. Ain't doing no damn work. Because you know what that does again? Collectively, it makes everybody wary about supporting other people who actually do need the money, who's doing the work. People who do have YouTube channels, people that are actually out here on the streets, boots on the ground, people that are actually out here speaking against politicians and talking to politicians, even political candidates. Now you make everybody afraid to even want to give money because now everybody's a grifter. You know what I'm saying? And we have to start asking questions. A lot of these people leading these conversations are just very savvy when it comes down to being attractive in conversation. They use these, they trend hop, they start these rooms. One day they talk about LGBTQ and they're leading that movement. Another day when something else is popular, they're bringing this up. And now, the reparations is their go-to. And there's people talking about it who has no idea, no clue about what they're talking about, passing out misinformation. And what upsets me about it is that these people that are misinformed don't just go around and tell other people, but then they'll come in your space with this misinformation and confuse everybody else. Now you got to spend the whole half an hour or an hour explaining something that people got wrong. And it's exhausting because we're supposed to be progressing, not in being in stagnation. So when you end up in these rooms, the best way to break down and really make people realize that they're in the wrong space when they really want to address issues that's truly affecting us, start asking questions. Don't make any statements. Start asking questions. Start asking for more information because that's the only way you're going to make people feel, number one, it's going to help them grow if they're truly in it. Number two, it's going to make them feel uncomfortable leading a discussion they don't know. The third thing is that we need to start pointing fingers into people who are inclined. Know who are educated on these topics. You know the difference between now and history? Historically, when we had movements, there were people that were like heads of these movements, and they weren't people like you had the Paul Robeson. Now I love Paul Robeson. You had people who were well spoken and they knew how to address certain questions. They were inclined in knowledge, and they did their homework. This is all they did. You didn't have people who could just hop up and start a room and start being a leader of 3,000 to 30,000 people, not being able to spread the right message. You don't just hop on a stage on a reparations topic and start talking, because then there's going to be people who need to be involved that comes in those spaces and end up becoming misinformed. You need to be more informed when you lead these discussions. Being a leader is not a skill. Being a leader is about doing the work. It's about like if you want to. I'm not telling people they can't lead. I'm just telling you, it's not just
Hey,
like something you
political.
pick up. And I
Hold
just want to
on a
leave it with
second,
that.
brother. Hold on a second, brother. I had to step away from the phone for like 4 minutes, but I mean, I wanted to get another. Thank you for your whatever you said.
Never
I mean,
Yeah,
I,
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, but I'm gonna have somebody else to try to step in and speak, and if you don't mind. So Native Son, I think you were waiting. I think. I mean, if I'm wrong, Angie or Arthur, let me know.
No, it's my
Okay.
turn. Good afternoon, everyone. I just wanted to make a point of distinction. Um, HR 40 cannot be implemented through executive action because there is a budget and funding attached to it. And the presidents don't have the discretion to spend funds that are not appropriated by Congress. So if Congress doesn't give him a budget for that, he can't fund it. And the other point of clarification is that according to USA.gov, there are no co-sponsors required to advance a bill to the floor for a vote. Co-sponsors indicate the support for a bill, and the higher the number of co-sponsors gives you an indication of its likelihood of passage. Thank you. That's all I want to share.
Absolutely true. Thank you, Native Son. Appreciate you for that. Um, and yeah, exactly. And I mean, and honestly, Native Son, brother, I just, I mean, Biden is just not going to. I mean, it's a legislative action that we need, right? Because
Right.
the whole thing dealing with chattel slavery was just so egregious. The entire country, from the judiciary to the legislative to the executive, were all involved in it. So this is like something that no one has ever had to contend with on this level, because people were kidnapped and traded and treated as chattel. This wasn't
Correct.
done in other countries. This was done right here in the United States. And this is something that the United States has to fix in order to attempt to try to, in order to attempt to try to get things right in this country. That was the sin that they haven't even tried to fix. People keep talking about some Native Americans, Indians. They are getting reparations. I know people that are making thousands they're making over, like I said, $15,000 a month. Some are making 12,000 a month, 7,000 a month. What are people talking about? Native Americans. Joe Biden said that craziness, and the NAACP never called him out on it.
Right.
Indians, Native Americans are trying to, and he's never cared about us. This man is a horror show. As far as us, he never. I mean, it's so, he treats us with such disdain that I can't believe people still sat up there and voted for this man. Y'all need to calm me down, Arthur. That's what y'all supposed to
We
do.
can because you're preaching, but Joe Biden is a Dixiecrat. And whether
Yes,
we
he
like it or
is.
not, going through Congress, particularly the House of Representatives, is the constitutional approach towards redress, because all appropriations from the federal government must begin in and be passed by the U.S. House of Representatives. So we cannot make an end run around Congress to get our check. They have to cut it.
Absolutely. Thank you, Native Son.
You're
Appreciate you.
welcome. Mhm.
That's
Fearless.
correct. Oh, I'm
I'm
sorry.
sorry, Arthur. Go ahead, Arthur.
No, I was about to say, these people that keep talking about these executive orders, usually executive orders are made when they have a certain percentage of support in Congress that they know will come through with funding. And that's what people don't forget. It's not, the president is not a king. He does have certain he does have a certain degree of power, but even if he puts an executive order, it doesn't mean anything unless money is behind it, and a budget, just like the young man was saying, is behind it. And the commission itself definitely needs a budget.
And
May,
wouldn't that
may
be
I add something real
embarrassing?
quick?
I mean, wouldn't it be embarrassing if he tried to do an EO and for anything? I mean, he's doing EOs, like they said, for everything dealing with offices or New Americans and whatever else. He doesn't even have the will, nor does, I mean, did you see his popularity numbers? This is not a populist president right here that we're talking about. This is Joe Biden. He's in what, the 32% or mid 30% approval rating. So I'm sorry, Fearless. Go ahead. You got a couple minutes, brother.
Yeah, it's gonna be
Can,
quick. Yeah, I just wanted to say that I wanted to add to what you were saying, Ross, when you was talking about the Native Americans and everything. It's like it's funny how they are getting appropriated funds even for um, their high school students. I think one of the tribes. But this is the thing. It's like they're using U.S. currency and they're getting what they need or from what the Bureau of Indian Affairs has already get set aside. But that's the thing about it. It's like they're so Native American, but they're getting U.S. currency and they're utilizing it. So we need to do what is needed for our own people, our own efforts, and our own demands and endeavors because it's already out there laid out for us to do. So we just got to do this work full court press and make this thing happen. I just want to say that.
can I add on to my point about the executive order? I didn't want to start a firestorm, but if he did an executive order for all these other folks and those things are getting funding, if ours doesn't get funding, we have an even harder fight ahead of us. You know what I mean? And I know Biden's gonna be a problem, right? I recognize that. I know who he is. But at the same time, if these people who are going at us, who are Democratic Party operatives, are coming at us with this do HR 40 or else, and we show people that you should have seen the reaction in that room when people found out that.
Uh, I think I don't know what just happened, but
Hello, hello.
yeah. I mean,
Go
hello,
ahead.
Mike.
I'm sorry, did I drop off while I was talking?
No, I think
Oh,
somebody probably hit a button. I didn't hit anything, but I don't know. Angie, did you have something to say? I guess not. Go ahead, Mike. Because
okay. Where did I leave off there? I'm sorry.
you were you still trying to talk about the EO?
Yeah, I was just making a point about other things are getting funded. If ours doesn't get funded, there's an issue. We could attack that as an issue. I'll leave it alone from there. Y'all be good.
Yeah, but at the same time, you remember content. We don't want the content of HR 40 to be embodied in either a House bill or an executive order. It's the
Agreed. Agreed.
content that's the problem.
Agreed. Agreed. I was just saying
Okay,
strategy point. Y'all be good.
right.
All right, thank you. A Boogie. A Boogie, you
Hey,
still
hey,
here?
yeah, I'm still here. Actually, I'm getting my answer in the back chat back chat, so I'm good.
All right, thank you so much. All right, right now I hopefully everybody we've been in here since 9 o'clock this morning. It is 1:15, and hopefully we have given you instruction. Everybody understands what the action item, the AI is contact your congressman, whether they signed on the HR 40 or did not. Find out from congress.gov whether they did or did not, because the more you know, the more. I mean, you don't want to come in there blind. You don't want to say, I don't know if you signed on the HR 40 or not. You want to come in and know what you're talking about, right? And you're going to get that congressman if they did sign on already to co-sponsor. You want them to basically to withdraw their co-sponsorship. If they did not, wonderful, bravo. Please don't sign on to this HR 40 bill. It's a Franken bill. It's horrible for us, and these are the reasons why. All of the reasons are listed in the jumbotron, and we basically are going to do like, hey, it was me and my 5 siblings that actually called in on this, and no hashtag no to HR 40, just like I had listed in the Jumbotron. And Fear This listed in the Jumbotron. Fear This, thank you. I shared it, brother. I shared yours already while we were talking. And that's pretty much it. We anybody else have any other questions? Did we have anything else, Angie or Arthur?
No, I don't have anything else to say at this point.
Thank you so much, sir. Angie? Angie? I I suppose Angie doesn't have anything. Angie, come in. You could come in. If not, okay, she gave a 100. She does not. Okay, well, family, it is 1:17, and wanted to if you we're going to get the recording of this space. If you want to share it, like I said, this is not a clandestine activity or some, not say clandestine. I don't like saying that about the work we're doing, but this is not like a strategy that we're doing behind closed doors or anything like that. This is something that's open item that we want you to share out. So please get this space when it records, and you could come to my Twitter space, share it out to your friends and other freedmen and other allies that you have allies. Share it out so they can understand better. And that is it. I wanted to thank you all for attending. I want to thank Arthur Ward for co-hosting and Angie from Baltimore for co-hosting, and everyone who did get an opportunity to participate and add the special seasoning to our sauce that makes this thing happen. And yeah, it takes your energy and your effort. Please, please, please post and let people know. No to no HR 40. You called your congressman, and let's get, if you see those stickers, share them out. Don't just hold them, share them around, and hopefully we'll start seeing more and more stickers on social media saying, I called my congressman and told him no to HR 40. On that note, and I want to wish everybody peace, love, and reparations from the Freedmen. All right. Thank you so much, and you all have a wonderful rest of your afternoon or morning.